Darrin Barnett, with the Labor approach now as we wrap up 2021, you don't have to be a great political scientist or commentator to know that they're going to make this a referendum, this looming election on the Prime Minister. And one of those comments they're going to go to is, it's not a race, which he said repeatedly at one stage of the pandemic. How potent will that be now that we've got many doses, we've got the mRNA facility going to be built in Melbourne?
Look, I think that if the election had been held 6 months ago, it would have been a lot more potent than it will be by May next year. I think hopefully a lot of people will have put COVID in the rearview mirror. I think we're quite fortunate here in Australia. We're going into summer, not winter, in parts of Europe and North America. Anecdotally, it seems that most of the strains, if not all of the strains of COVID, seem to respond better to lower temperatures than higher temperatures. So hopefully we can have a fairly uncomplicated summer. And if that happens, I think people will be thankful that governments across the board got the job done. Sure, we might have been a bit slow out of the blocks, but I don't know how much people will be putting that in their front of mind. I think it'll be more about the Prime Minister, and it'll go to whether people think he tells the truth. It'll be whether people think he delivers on his promises and those sorts of things. I think it will be a referendum on the Prime Minister more so than it will be a referendum on how COVID was handled. And really, on a global scale, COVID was handled pretty well.
And, well, we go back to various leaders, I know from, say, Anna Bligh in Queensland after those floods, or you go all the way back to World War II and Churchill. Leaders that get you through the crisis don't necessarily win an election straight afterwards, do they, Darrin?
They don't, but equally, Anastasia Palaszczuk and Mark McGowan, Northern Territory, governments have been returned in Australia off the back of COVID. Maybe that's because the crisis was still underway. But look, I think even though it's not a race, there is some potency in it. But I think people are pretty thankful that we're ending the year on a bright note, that borders are reopening, whether it be for domestic travel or international travel. People are now getting top-ups and boosters. Omicron does not seem to be a showstopper. And certainly in New South Wales, in Sydney, people seem to be getting about their everyday lives fairly normally. So I don't think it automatically means that Mr Morrison will be re-elected in a canter, but I don't think people are going to be getting too obsessive about marking him down at this point in time for his handling of COVID.